Welcome back to another video. Today I'm talking for DOFFY lingo. And no, I'm not discussing his fruits. I am discussing his actions and, of course, perpetrated actions. And I would like to say, DOFFY did nothing wrong. Now, of course, we know DOFFY did disgusting and bad things to, of course, Robin and most of anyone who worked with him or worked under him and Dressrosa, and should be put in prison. Not saying that, but since this is a video of being devil's advocate, DOFFLAMINGO did nothing wrong. For example, his family used to be part of, not the Gorosei, but used to be part of those high-ranking families. Can't really think of where it was, where his family was one of the top families. They had the money, they had the status, but were brought down to the common folk just because the father was rather thrown out or he left that situation. Do I know what it's called? I should, but I don't. Then when that happened and the people caught sight of that they were such a prestigious family, they tortured his father, they tortured him, they tortured his younger brother, they tortured his brother. I think his brother is older. They tortured his brother on and on to rather kill him or to get answers about him. You know, eventually that molded DOFFY's personality, of course, being a victim of such a bad world and someone who wanted to rise to power and not to be as broke or as bad as the common folk, of course, because the common folk basically persecuted his whole family. Now, of course, within that, a couple of years later, he starts to build up power. Of course, he kills his father, he kills his father. Correct me in the comments. He rather kills his father or the people kill his father. Not really sure. Also, we have to make a standpoint of DOFFY lost his mother incredibly young to a very mysterious illness. I don't know what the illness was, but it was the illness. Anyway, with that, a couple of years later, while DOFFLAMINGO rose to power, he began to do some underworld things. Now, of course, that is to maintain his power and have an outreach towards the world government. Of course, having a spy within the world government itself. Now, the world government, of course, knows that, and the world government has his brother be the spy or double agent for them. Now, DOFFY took that incredibly offensive, since his brother saw DOFFY as pure evil and or my fault. Yeah, saw him as pure evil. And someone that needed to be dealt with and locked behind bars. Now, DOFFY's brother probably didn't want to kill him, but he gave away the fruit to law. He protected the world government and was giving him intel. So DOFFY had to wrap him up. As much as I love DOFFY's brother and the character arc he was on, he had to kill him. And of course, DOFFY does see this as a good thing, as it relieved him from it, as the love and attachment to his brother was probably the last thing holding him down. But, you know, his brother was selling him out. Were you supposed to stand there and take it? Of course, now we are more attached to DOFFY's brother because of his attachment to Law. Of course, Law being the one more popular and emotionally attached characters that people are involved in. I really like Law, but I really get where DOFFY was coming from in that specific case. Besides that, of course, we see DOFFY locked up and becoming before he was locked up, he became one of the 7 warlords. Now, of course, the 7 warlord system was eventually sliced to pieces by the world government, but hopefully DOFFY joins Cross Guild. I know he won't be under Buggy, but we know Cross Guild is ran by Mihawk and Crocodile, and DOFFY has been kept teasing a return through anime and manga panels, so hopefully we see him again. But DOFFY grew a harsh life and wanted everything to be in place and have the power to mostly have everything. So to call him a criminal is outlandish. To call someone who had to just survive in the world and to succeed at the highest level despite anything is true. Why are the cops outside? It's the Knicks. People creating crimes because of the Knicks. Whew. Anyway, yeah, DOFFY did nothing wrong. I know, of course, Robin, but other than that, he did nothing wrong. Of course, he has the pirates, and he does do some good. He mostly doesn't do any good in the series, does he? Hopefully, whenever he comes back and joins Cross Guild through the means of Mihawk and or Crocodile, we get to see more of him, especially in that little final war arc. If he were to, well, when he breaks out of prison, it's just been teased. So, anyway, like, subscribe. I'll see you in the next one.